More about tonight's vice presidential debate with our live panel tonight. Dr. Tracy Pearson, political commentator, lawyer, and host of the new podcast, What We Don't Know with Dr. Tracy, where you can get it with your podcasts. And Bernie Flowers is a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel, former Republican candidate for Congress from Maryland's 3rd District, and they are both live up here on the Final Five. Thank you both for joining us. I appreciate it. Good seeing you both.
Thanks, Jim. It's wonderful to be here, as always.
Okay, Tracy, I want to do this democratically. Call it heads or tails. Who goes first here?
Heads.
Okay. It is tails. Bernie, let me get your take on how it went tonight.
Oh, man. So, what you got, man?
Yeah, so what did you think about tonight? What did you think? Who came out the winner?
Well, I thought that Vance was a little bit more polished and professional. It seemed to me that Walz looked a little flustered, but it was very nice to see a civil debate. They didn't get ugly with one another. There were a couple of events where the moderators seemed to be pulling to one side or the other, but all in all, I think it was a fair debate, and both candidates acquitted themselves well.
Yeah, Tracy, I think off the top, you certainly did see it looked like Governor Walz was a bit flustered. But, you know, as it went on, both of them, you get your footing in situations like this. I think they both, I mean, really, for a lot of people, this is the first time we saw both of them speak on stage for many people.
Indeed, it was the first time. And I would expect that Tim Walz would struggle with the beginnings and sort of getting his traction. And, you know, look, he's a football coach. He got it in the fourth quarter.
Bernie, on that note about where they were coming from tonight, I think they hit the issues that a lot of people cared about. Economy is always top of mind. In this race, reproductive rights has been pretty significant as well. I mean, what did they talk about that you think we could have gone on longer for? Were there any issues that maybe we were lacking in substance on?
Well, in my opinion, when he talked about Tiananmen Square and the fact that he said he was there and he wasn't, and, you know, to be fact-checked by NPR, about the most liberal organization in media, you know, he really didn't answer that question. And he had to go on and on and on, but I don't think he gave a real good answer on that. He should have just flat out said, hey, I wasn't there, I made a mistake. He said I misquoted, but that was kind of chintzy in my world.
I think, honestly, Tracy, what we saw there and the moment, give the moderators credit, because they're like, hey, we asked a question, you didn't get to it, and then he gave the answer where he said, I said what I said, which I think is Nene Leakes out of The Real Housewives.
I think that he used the time appropriately, frankly, in a debate. He made an argument about an issue that he wanted to talk about, allowed them to ask him the question again, and he said he misspoke. And I think that, as we all know, I misspeak, you misspeak, we all misspeak. That's not the issue of concern for me.
Yeah. Bernie, as we look ahead, I mean, you know, we talk about vice presidential debates and whether they matter. And I was talking with Tom Fitzgerald about some moments that really stood out for a lot of people through the years. But tonight, considering the political climate in which we are in, are there people that are on the fence that this might sway them one way or another? Or was this more about saying, this is who, these are the people that are going to serve those on the top of the ticket and nothing more?
I think that I don't think anybody who watched this debate was going to change their mind on anything these guys have said. You got the real politicos that will watch a vice presidential debate, people like us. And, you know, it was entertaining. I enjoyed the fact that they didn't call each other names. They were somewhat gentlemanly, but I don't think any minds were changed.
Yeah, Tracy, as you saw Tim Walz, and when we had you on the last time, we were discussing really that the change in this race, the fact that President Biden left the race and that opened the door for Governor Walz here. Do you think that he was, seeing what you've seen so far, the best choice for Vice President Harris? Because a lot of people were pulling for, you know, Josh Shapiro out of Pennsylvania, or is it dumb to have this conversation 30-some days out?
I would say it's dumb to have this conversation. I would say what he brings to the ticket is likability in a different way. I think that he's somebody that's trustworthy. One of the things that struck me about this debate was that if you just looked at it as a non-policy wonk, it looked great, right? Yeah. J.D. Vance looked like a guy who was happy to answer questions, but he wasn't telling the truth.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. I know that there was the debate over the fact-checking there, Bernie, and I think, you know, it's something where as a candidate, you should be prepared to call the other one out if there's something that you disagree with. But as we go ahead, as we continue on the campaign trail here, J.D. Vance out of Ohio, Tim Walz out of Minnesota, states in the Midwest, which are going to be crucial. As you look ahead, what do you think that we should be focusing on in the media? Is there a state, is there an area, or is there an issue that you think should be top of mind going into this last month of the campaign?
Well, with me, immigration and the economy and immigration. The idea that Ms. Harris has been in office 3.5 years and all the things she's talking about changing, well, she has to defend her record. And in my mind, what did she do to make things better? That's the real deal there. What's she going to do to make things different? And I don't say that as a Republican or a conservative. I say that as a voter. What's going to change? And right now, we've got all these immigrants running around in Springfield, Ohio, and in Aurora, Colorado. And as somebody who worked for the administration for a very long time and got to see her up close, I just didn't see where she was showing leadership. And she has, even right now, still the opportunity as the sitting vice president to show some leadership on this subject. Let's make some things happen.
Tracy, I'm just about out of time. I want to give you the last word on what Bernie said or anything else you think we should be paying attention to.
She was the vice president. She has a different role. And if you read the Constitution, it tells you what it is. But I think the most important thing that we need to be thinking about right now is foreign policy, given what's going on in the world.
Yeah, no kidding. We didn't get into that much tonight. I'm sure we will over the next couple of days for sure. Tracy Pearson, Bernie Flowers, thank you both for staying up late. Great to see you both. And again, we had a civil conversation just like they did on the debate. And we're all winners for that. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're back after this in the Final Five.